Hey folks, we're going to continue where we left off and try to get through subsections B6 through B11 today. We're going to start off with internship opportunities. You'll see I've already got this somewhat populated. We're going to check the section out and we're going to go to text and image. Now today we're going to be talking a lot about how we can use the general information on our website to supplement the specific program-specific information on internships. So first and foremost, we want the general campus internship policy. Now, as always, the search bar is your best friend. I just searched internship and found the internship/culminating experience policy. And I've copied the link in here so that the external reviewers can take a look at that. Now, in addition to that, I wanted to mention that we have specific program courses where we house the internships, TCOM 400 and TCOM 410. Where did I find these? I found these on the TCOM course listings page, and again I used the search bar for this. I just typed in TCOM, space, internships, or I typed in a specific course designator, and then scrolled down until I found what I needed, pasted it in, there goes my phone, and we're all set to go. After that, we get into the realm of our specific internship protocol. Here's where you're going to describe some of the more specific aspects of your internship process or protocol, the idiosyncrasies that are unique to your program. Perhaps you have an articulation agreement that's tailored specifically to an external site. For TCOM, we have a unique setup because we have some internships that are off-site, for which we use a generic articulation agreement, and we'll get to the articulation agreements in a second here. But we also have in-house internships. We might have a student help us with living writers. We might have students helping us generate promotional materials or creating flyers or posters or things along those lines. This is where you'd want to describe some of those unique aspects of the internship that only your program covers. Once you've written that in, you can save and return. Now, it's a good idea to have some attachments as well. We're going to upload from the computer as we have in the past. And what we want to include here are the specific courses. There they are. TCOM 400, TCOM 410. We're going to upload and close. Boom, there they are now. Let me move this back over so it looks a little bit cleaner. And we'll save and return. Now we have some supplementary information in the attachments. One thing that's worth noting is when you do finally print the assessment and the major for external reviewers, these attachments will be listed, but you'll have to print those separately for the external reviewers, or you'll have to attach them separately for the external reviewers. Another thing it's a good idea to attach would be the articulation agreement. Just the blank articulation agreement that you use, so that you have that information available to external evaluators as well. Once you get those documents in and you've got the core information here and the specific internship protocol information, you should be all set to go with the internship opportunities. When it comes to research opportunities, we don't necessarily have a litany of research opportunities for students, but we do have the scholarly activities celebration each year where students can present research that they've done in the class. So you'll at least want to introduce that here. That's where we start. After that, we want to get into the specifics. What specific research initiatives does your program feature? Now, it might not feature a lot, so you're going to have to do some digging. My recommendation is talk to your chair, talk to your dean, talk to the director of assessment, try to figure out if there's any additional scholarship or scholarship opportunities for students. Now, there's a difference, of course, between scholarship opportunities and students actually completing scholarship. I would recommend, if you can, attaching sample work from students that was presented at the Scholarly Activities Celebration, or sample work that students have submitted to other places. Now, if they haven't, that's okay. That's something that your program can work on, and that's part of what we're doing the self-study for. All right, the department procedures. Now, each department and or program typically has a set of bylaws. These aren't always available online, so you're going to want to ask your chair again or your dean if they can find a copy of the bylaws for your specific department and attach those in this subsection. You may also want to talk about additional departmental procedures that aren't reflected in the bylaws. So it's a good idea to take a look at the department or program bylaws, see what might be missing that you're doing now, and then add that to the narrative component of this subsection. This is also an opportunity for improvement, because if departmental procedures have changed since the last time the bylaws were updated, it reminds you that, hey, this is something we can work on. We can actually update the department bylaws before we proceed. When it comes to advisement procedures, we're in a similar boat that we've been in the past. We have the general advising page that we can use here. This is the advising center page. Let's see if we actually have that. Student activities, student advising. So we have a student advising page as well. We have a plethora of resources regarding advising responsibilities. They can be found at the following links. We'll put that one in there. Let's see, that's the advising center. And then there was another, okay, so it looks like we've got two here. Boom. But in addition to that, we're going to actually want to have an advising narrative. So what kinds of things would you want to put in here? What is the distribution of students or faculty in the program? What is the ratio of advisees to advisors? Some programs have a lot of students assigned to each advisor, sometimes as high as 50 in certain cases. Other programs might have only 2 or 3. There are some programs that outsource their advisees to non-program faculty. For example, I don't want to mention any names, but there are certain programs that have so many students that they might have a humanities faculty advise on their behalf. That's something that we'd want to talk about here. We'd also want to describe the process by which students are advised. So historically, we used to have a sign-up sheet on our door. This is many years ago. I'm going way back now. Students would sign up for a designated time slot. They would come in. They would tell us what they were interested in taking. We'd compare that to their curriculum check sheet, or the curriculum check sheet. And we would try to assign them courses that would help them move towards graduation, but also give them enough flexibility to explore some courses that maybe the student is just personally interested in. And the great thing about our school is that we often have room, especially in our 4-year programs, for courses of that nature. Students are then given their PIN number, and then they are sent along their merry way, usually asked to provide a confirmation of registration, and then the advisor can go into DegreeWorks and they can review the students' records and see if they've signed up for courses that are actually going to help them. Because as we know, students sometimes will walk out of an advising session and they will sign up for whatever they want to because they're looking specifically for a Tuesday, Thursday schedule or a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule. We want all of that to be captured in this area. Student activities. So here, as with some of the other areas, we actually have a student activities page. So the student activities homepage can be found at the following web link. Boom. But in addition to that, as with the other areas, we want to make sure that we have a narrative here. Now this is where analysis might come into play a little bit more. You could reach out to institutional research and see if they could run a report on the breakdown of which students are participating in which clubs, so that you can get some statistics on that. Perhaps there's actually a club that is specific to your program. Steel Bridge, for example, the Steel Bridge team relates to some of the engineering programs that we have on campus. Game design and the online gaming club, if they have that anymore. I don't know if it's the general gaming club or the online gaming club, but there's a strong correlation between those as well. But you'll want to talk a little bit about the clubs that your students participate in your program, or the ones that they gravitate towards the most. You may want to also provide a link to the calendar of activities for students on campus. And what are we doing this for? We're trying to show that we're meeting some of our institutional goals that relate to creating an enriching campus life. And as long as you can kind of work that in as much as possible, you're all set to go. In fact, I'll say this, another above and beyond thing that you can do in your program self-study or assessment in the major is link these subcategories to the specific mission and goals that our institution has. And of course, you can find that on our home page. Finally, we're going to jump to community needs. Okay, describe how the program responds to the needs of the community if applicable. And we don't really have to worry about this subsection here. In fact, I'm going to delete that from the directions so that we don't have to worry about that moving forward. Now, not every program responds to community needs. I know that we had a construction program years ago that would engage in outreach, and it would help people by building various things around the community. For TCOM, we often work with the Children's Museum with developing the web page or photographing events, things along those lines. We might do social media management, things like that, so that we're helping out the community as much as we possibly can. Not always happening, but sometimes is. If your program isn't reaching out and responding to community needs, wow, that was nice, community needs, then you're going to want to think about how your program might be able to respond to community needs, and that's what you're going to be putting in here. Now, I know that was relatively brief, comparatively speaking. Usually I tend to go a little bit longer and into more depth with each of these, but I just wanted to give you a basic rundown of what you're looking for in these areas. Again, just to repeat, it might be a good idea to go in and link each of these subcategories to our mission and goals as an institution. And it's always a great idea to start first with the website. The search bar is your friend. Control F is always going to be your friend, and then reach out to your chairs for more specific information. Now, if you come across a situation where you have no information at all to put in here, you can always reach out to your dean or the secretaries in your dean's office, the administrative assistants, or you can reach out to me and we can see what we can dredge up from previous assessment in the majors or program self-studies, or from your initial submission to state ed for the program in which you are housed. I think that'll take care of everything for today, folks. We'll see you next time for Section C. Yay!